Healing the Eating Habit, Part 6. Healing the Eating Habit can be bought from Lulu Online Publishing and Amazon. In order to suppress an emotional issue or feeling, you must do something. That something is addiction. Therefore, this eating when already physically full is a sign of addiction and an activity of addiction. So, let's not underestimate the importance and the enormity of our task here. So let's not underestimate the enormity of our task here. It is no longer a matter of just counting calories, getting slim, and suddenly all of your life is perfect. No, it goes a little deeper than that. What we are, in fact, doing is giving up an addiction to food when full. Remember, any activity that is done in order to suppress an emotional issue or feeling is addiction. And the first step we take to break the cycle of addiction is simply to get in touch with the feelings and emotional issues which we have previously been spending a lot of time and energy suppressing or stuffing down with food. Once we allow ourselves to experience these feelings and emotional issues, we are well on the way to resolving them. It is good to know that when we are busy experiencing our feelings, we can be certain that we are not suppressing them. For experiencing a feeling or emotional issue is the opposite of suppressing it. What is suppression? Suppression is one way of dealing with an unresolved emotional issue or feeling with which we may be uncomfortable. It involves putting feelings and emotional issues below our level of awareness into the subconscious. It takes a lot of energy. Suppression loses its appeal when we find more appropriate and altogether joyous ways of dealing with those same feelings and emotional issues. Let's get clear about suppression. It serves a purpose. It is a learned habit. And this is one habit that can be changed if we want to take the time, follow the appropriate steps, and are willing to feel our feelings. Uncomfortable with a feeling, we deal with it in what may be the only way we know how, by suppressing it. However, in order to resolve our emotional issues, it is necessary that we feel our feelings. If these feelings are of a very intense nature, possibly associated with some past trauma, then feeling those feelings is not the easiest thing in the world to do. It takes the terror out of confronting traumatic emotional issues if you know that you can deal with the intensity of these emotions and feelings. There is no feeling that cannot be felt or has not been felt, experienced, and overcome by someone else before you. Feeling a feeling allows it to integrate. And once integrated, the trauma is over. One is at peace, healed, if you like. It is the suppression of feeling that causes us trouble in the form of addiction, ill health, financial or relationship problems. There are great advantages in being courageous and feeling the unpleasant feelings of the past and present, going through the experience of discomfort in order to experience the benefits in terms of inner peace, health, personal and professional fulfillment. Make it all worthwhile. In my opinion, one of the most effective tools for accessing and dealing with big emotional issues is a breathing technique called rebirthing. Through feeling your feelings and working on your own personal growth, you can still be the person you would have been had you had the most loving, healthy, supportive, and emotionally present parents in the world. This is because your power lies in the conclusions you make and the healing you have through integrating the trauma. This is because your power lies in the conclusions you make and the healing you have through integrating the trauma. It is healing what happened to you as opposed to suppressing what happened to you. For example, a person could have had a relatively good upbringing but made negative conclusions about it and thus suffer as a result of those negative conclusions. Likewise, a person could have had a lot of trauma and challenges in her upbringing, but learns to deal with them constructively, seeks healing, and makes positive conclusions such as, well, I must have paid off a huge karmic debt, or in faith in overcoming the past, I am able to show others that trauma need not kill you or cause you to be an addict or overweight, thus emerging the victor of those past experiences. The past integration. Step 1. Being aware of when you are suppressing your feelings. As regards to compulsive eating, this is becoming aware of what you are doing anytime you are eating, even though you are physically full. You become a non judgmental observer of your own compulsive behavior. Step 2. Being willing to stop that behavior, which enables you to suppress your feelings. In other words, you are willing to try to stop eating when physically full. You can do this by cutting through and arresting the compulsion to eat when full with the thought, what feeling is this? Feeling is this? Keep repeating this question silently until you become aware of the feelings, and at times you can even stop that binge. Step 3. Actually stop eating when full. While no longer eating when physically full, being open to experiencing emotions that may feel a bit uncomfortable. Step 4. Whilst experiencing your emotions, being open and willing to find healthy ways of dealing with those emotions and emotional issues by asking yourself the question, given the fact I feel this way, what would I like to do now? Step 5. Listening to your inner guidance, those inner whispers that are answering that question. Once you have tuned your ear inwards, listened for and received your answer, you check up on that answer, obviously making sure it is legal, healthy, and does not harm yourself or another, thereby ensuring that it is a healthy way to deal with your emotions, which does not involve further suppression of those emotions. Step 6. Get busy doing it. Follow that inner guidance. Act on that healthy answer. Allow it to lead you out of your addictions and into a slim, healthy, addiction free life. The healthy answer. You may say, how am I supposed to know this healthy, appropriate way of dealing with my feelings and emotional issues? Well, the answer is simple. If there is a compulsive feel to anything you do or think about doing, simply relax and see if you can stay with your feelings. Healthy answers usually have a relaxed and somewhat joyous quality to them. Be wary of a compulsive jog or compulsive shopping spree that has no joy. Cigarettes, alcohol, and drugs are obvious substances that no one needs to check for compulsive urges towards. Staying with your feelings as much as you can while continuing to ask yourself the question, given the fact I feel this way, what would I like to do now? This will bring you to a healthy answer that you will recognize sooner or later. I feel it is of the of, I feel it is of the utmost importance for you to be supported at this time. So ask yourself, who is supporting me through this? Unless you have an answer to this one, see about getting some support, be it professional help or just a friend with whom you can say affirmations and do healing visualizations. Further awareness can be gained by tuning into your feelings and asking yourself, what is this feeling trying to tell me? Really listen to your thoughts and intuitive whispers coming from your higher self. This is subtle inner work and it takes practice to master. Through turning your attention inward, you can quickly discover what is the best course of action to take at any given moment in time. If you allow yourself to recognize and trust this inner guidance, you can be accurately guided to the perfect solution by your gut feelings, common sense, and intuition. The answers are all within you, and by asking the appropriate questions, such as the ones already mentioned, you can access those priceless answers. Our relationship to food. A woman with an eating disorder can have such a warped relationship to food that she overrides the subtle inner cues which are telling her whether her stomach is full or empty. She can also be so out of touch with when she is physically hungry and when she is physically full that she is stuffing her face when her stomach is screaming at her, "No more food, please." And when her stomach is saying, "I would like a nice hot bowl of soup," she refuses to eat. This is an example of a woman not meeting her needs appropriately. She is indulging in this self abusive activity in order to suppress her feelings. This is, as I have mentioned before, one way of dealing with unpleasant feelings and unresolved emotional issues. Whatever those feelings or issues may be, she is using food to suppress them. Is that woman you? Question. So, how do we begin to break out of this inappropriate cycle, which is a very self destructive way of dealing with feelings and emotional issues? Answer. We learn the difference between physical hunger and emotional hunger. We acknowledge that what is actually happening to us when we crave food, even though our stomach is physically full, is the tendency towards addiction kicking in. To put it another way, the craving to eat when physically full is the compulsive urge to suppress our feelings due to the fact that we simply have not yet learned any other way of dealing with those feelings. We ask ourselves, what is the healthy alternative to down? Or our old reliable, what feeling is this? And given the fact I feel this way, what would I like to do now? We practice that healthy alternative way of dealing with our feelings. The following shows us how to do just that. Practice asking yourself often the key question, "Am I physically hungry?" And follow through on the guidelines in column A and B of this important process, the "Am I hungry" process. The first few weeks and months of healing your eating habit can be spent mastering this simple, empowering procedure. Anytime you think about food or eating, ask yourself, "Am I hungry?" Column A. Am I physically hungry? If the answer is yes, then eat whatever you fancy until physically full. When physically full, stop eating until physically hungry again. Ask yourself, am I hungry? Column B. Am I physically hungry? If the answer is no, then this is emotional hunger when you still want to eat even though you are physically full. In this instant, it is important to ask yourself the following. 1. What feeling is this? 2. Given the fact I feel this way, what would I like to do now? 3. If the answer is a healthy one, then get busy doing it. Do be aware of what your mind comes up with as an answer to the question, given the fact I feel this way, what would I like to do now? Make sure the answer is the healthy alternative to stuffing the feelings down and not just another avoidance tactic. It is important to allow yourself to feel your feelings. It is also important that how you act on them is helping you resolve them. Definition of emotional hunger: feeling hungry and wanting to eat when your stomach is actually physically full. Your stomach is already physically full of food and in the process of digesting that food, feeling hungry in the mouth as opposed to the stomach. This is a compulsion to eat when full, a craving to eat when full, and it is mainly a subconscious urge to run away from how you are feeling emotionally. Eating when full puts uncomfortable emotions into suppression, that is, below your level of awareness. Definition of physical hunger: Feeling hungry, wanting to eat when actually physically hungry. Your stomach is empty or partially empty and is and it is both essential and healthy to eat at this time. For this hunger is the natural healthy desire to feed and nourish the body appropriately in order to stay alive. Example: you feel like eating and you check in with your stomach. You ask yourself, 1. Am I hungry? The answer comes no, I am physically full. Your stomach feels full and you know you have just 5 minutes before finished quite a big meal. 2. What feeling is this? And you realize you are bored. Then you ask yourself, given the fact I feel this way, what would I like to do now? The answer comes, I would like to phone a friend. You get your phone, you call one of your friends, enjoy a chat, and feel satisfied. This is an example of easily meeting your own emotional needs appropriately. Needs that had the potential to cause you to overeat. I do not have to remind you that it is not always as simple as this. There could be bigger issues involved. The important thing is to become aware of those issues, feel the feelings associated with those issues. So deep within you lies the solution to those issues, no matter how old or painful they may be. Thus, you face up to and resolve them, leaving you free to move forward into a life of your choice, not burdened by the habit of eating when full excess weight. Whilst in the process of changing our unhealthy eating patterns, the more we are able to recognize and act appropriately on emotional hunger and physical hunger, the easier it is to get into contact with the previously suppressed emotional issues and feelings. The more we eat when physically hungry and stop when physically full, the more we experience those old suppressed feelings. The more we get used to experiencing our feelings, the less scared we are of them. We can then discover what they are all about and go about resolving them effectively and permanently. Once resolved, these emotional issues and feelings never again cause us to eat when we are physically full in order to cope with them. Now, we are in the powerful position of not only being able to cope with our feelings and emotional issues, but we are also well on the way to resolving permanently anything that previously troubled us. End of part 6: Healing the Eating Habit. The paperback Healing the Eating Habit by Sophia Bothwell is available from Amazon and Lulu, Lulu online publishing. One-to-one sessions and workshops are also available. Contact Sophia, Sofia 2227 at gmail.com for further information.